Hi students, hope you all are doing good. So we'll continue with the discussion of chapter electric charge and fields. So last class we saw the application of Gauss law to find electric field due to three kinds of charge distribution: spherical shell, infinite line charge, and infinite plane sheet of charge. Right? Today I would like to quickly first revise how to find the electric field in a very short way. I will revise. Okay. Now in exam you should not do this short way. You should do the way I did in the last video. But the short way of doing the derivation will help you to do faster in entrance questions if such questions come. Okay, so let us see how to derive the same formulas in a little faster way. Okay, so if you remember, if I give you a shell of charge, shell means hollow sphere. So inside nothing is there and all the charge is on the outer surface. It is uniformly distributed. Okay, so suppose I want electric field at some point which is P, at what distance from the center? R. Then what I do, I imagine a Gaussian surface passing through that point. Okay, then you can see everywhere area vector will be this way, area vector. If you take small area, then you can write dA, and since it is spherical charge, electric field will be also this way, everywhere. Okay, so what is the left side of Gauss law? The left side of Gauss law says the net electric flux, which is integral of E dA cos theta, right? Now you can see everywhere theta is 0, so cos 0 will be 1. And since everywhere E is uniform, you can take E outside. What is left? Integration of dA. So total area of sphere will be 4 pi r square. Okay, 4 pi r square. And that should be equal to whatever charge is inside the shell divided by epsilon naught. Yes or no? That is the application of Gauss law. So whatever charge is inside is the total charge. Let us say is Q. Then here you will write Q. So what will be E equal to? Bring this downstairs, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q divided by R square. So this is the formula for electric field at a point P which is outside the shell. Immediately it comes, right? Now if I take a point which is inside, then I will draw a Gaussian surface like this. Then I will apply again Gauss law, which says net flux, which is this term, that should be equals to charge inside, which is 0 divided by epsilon naught. Why 0 now? Because this is inside the shell. This Gaussian surface is inside the shell, right? And this integration is always done over the Gaussian surface. So since this is 0, it means dA cannot be 0. So E has to be 0 everywhere inside the shell. So immediately you can see we can find the formula for electric field outside and inside a spherical shell. Inside, remember, electric field is 0. After this, what we took? We took a infinitely long line charge. So if you take a line charge like this, which is infinitely long, I told you electric field will be everywhere like this. Okay, this is your electric field lines. Okay, it will look like this. Then I wanted electric field at some point P, which is at a distance r from the line charge. Then if you remember, I made a Gaussian surface which is cylindrical passing through that point. So wherever you want electric field through that point, you should draw the Gaussian surface. Now, if you look at this part of the surface, area vector is perpendicular to the surface. Electric field is here. So here angle is 90 degree between electric field and area vector. So cos 90 will be 0. So electric flux, which has E dA cos theta, right? So here theta is 90, so cos 90 is 0. So no flux here. Similarly, there will be no flux here. So the flux will come only from this part. Okay. So if you look at the left side of Gauss law, there is integral E dA cos theta. For this surface, area vector will be like this. Electric field is also like this. So everywhere theta is 0. Right? So that should be equal to charge inside divided by epsilon naught. Now we defined a quantity called lambda, which is charge per meter, matlab charge in 1 meter. Charge in 2 meter will be 2 lambda. Charge in this much meter, which I can write L, will be how much? L lambda. So charge inside is L lambda. Then since E is uniform, you can take it outside. Cos 0 is 1. Integral dA will give you total area. Total area of which part? Only this part. So this part area will be 2 pi r into L. Then you cross multiply. E will be, L will cancel. Lambda divided by 2 pi epsilon naught r. So immediately you can see how fast we can do, right? Then I took, if you remember, sheet of charge. So basically we have to use Gauss law to find electric field due to this kind of charge distribution. Then I did sheet of charge. So suppose I take this kind of sheet of charge, infinite, okay? Then electric field now will be like this everywhere, okay, like this. It will be in space, okay, 3D. Fine, like this. Now, what kind of Gaussian surface we made? This kind of Gaussian surface we made. Cylindrical but horizontal, like this. Now look carefully. If you take this part of the curved surface of the cylinder, area vector will be here. Area vector. Electric field vector is this black lines. So angle is 90 degrees. So flux will be 0. So from here, there will be no flux. Only flux will come from this part and this part. Let us say this area is A. Then in electric flux, what we have? Integral E dA cos theta. For this part, area vector will be here. Electric field is also here. So theta will be 0. For this part also, area vector is here. Right? Perpendicular to the surface, and you have to draw outward. Electric field is also here. So cos is 0 here also. So if you do this integration for the whole cylinder, curved surface will not give you. For this flat surface, what will you get? E into A. Because E will come out. Integration of dA will give you total area of this part. Then if you do for this part, again you will get one more E into A. So that will be your total flux through this cylinder. Then Gauss law you apply. That should be equal to charge inside divided by epsilon naught. Now for a sheet, let us say sigma is charge per unit area, not charge per unit length. Charge per unit area, matlab charge in 1 meter square. I want charge inside this cylinder. So you can see this much charge, whatever charge is here, that will be inside the cylinder. Now if this area is A, this area will be also A. So charge inside will be sigma into A, because sigma is charge in 1 meter square. Charge in 2 meter square, 2 sigma. Charge in A meter square will be A sigma divided by epsilon naught. So from here you will get 2E equal to sigma by epsilon naught. A will cancel, no? So what will be E equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. And what is the beauty of this formula? It does not depend on how far the point is from the sheet. It is independent of the distance from the sheet, and that is because we have taken infinite plane sheet of charge. So this is a beautiful example of uniform electric field. So we have quickly shown how the derivation can be done in a faster way. So basically remember, electric flux is EA, E dA cos theta, and E will be such that it can be taken as uniform, the magnitude. So you can take E outside. Then you have to take only the integration of dA. Integration of dA will give you total area. So basically remember, it is E into area, E into area. And theta may be zeros for some surface, theta will be 90 for some surface. If theta is 0, cos 0 will be 1. If theta is 90, cos 90 will be 0. Okay. Now, we will continue with today's topics. Let us see some learning exercise or numerical exercise, whatever is there. Okay. So let's see. Okay, what is the first exercise we have? Learning exercise 7. Learning exercise 7. Okay. Question number 1. So see carefully. Draw a graph showing the variation of electric field that we did in the last video. Please check. It was 0 inside and outside it was inversely proportional to distance square. Okay, so we have done that question already. Please check the last video. Question number 2. What is the nature of electric field due to infinitely large plane sheet of charge? We know already. Just now I have shown today also. So the nature of electric field due to infinite plane sheet of charge is uniform electric field. So for first one, if you want me to draw, then inside it is 0, outside it is like this. So there is the electric field versus distance from center. This is the radius of the sphere. So if you are here, you are inside. If you are here, you are outside. So inside, if you remember, for a shell, electric field is 0. So 0, outside it will suddenly jump and then it will decrease 1 by r square. We have done this, students, already. Question number 2, the nature of electric field due to infinite plane sheet of charge. How it is? The nature is uniform electric field. Uniform electric field. Okay, please write full spelling in exam. Okay, question number 3, you say. Very good question. Okay, concentrate. A spherical rubber balloon. A spherical rubber balloon carries a charge that is uniformly distributed over its surface. So there is a balloon, okay, which has charge uniformly distributed over its surface. So this is a balloon. One more L is there, no? Okay. Now, as the balloon is blown up, listen carefully. As the balloon is blown up means as this balloon becomes bigger. How does, they are asking, electric field vary for points which are inside the balloon, for points on the surface of balloon, and for points outside the balloon? So first part is, as the balloon, listen carefully, okay, as this balloon expands, they are asking what will be electric field inside, how it will change, electric field on the surface, and electric field outside. Okay, now this is like a shell only. So even if the balloon becomes bigger, as long as you are inside, then you know electric field will be 0. This is clear, right? Okay. Now outside they are asking later. First they are asking on the surface. So on this, let us say this radius is capital R and the total charge is capital Q, let's say. Now on the surface, what is the electric field? We have seen the formula, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught capital Q by radius square. Yes or no, students? Outside it was small r, no? If you are here, the distance here was this small r. On the surface, if you ask, small r will become capital R. So this is electric field on the surface. Now as the balloon becomes bigger, as balloon gets bigger, this r will increase. Yes or no? But total charge is constant. Q will be constant only, because the total charge will not change. You are just making the balloon bigger. Total charge will be same only, no? Conservation of charge, you know already. As long as it is isolated, charge cannot increase, charge cannot decrease, simply like that. So total charge is constant, but as the balloon becomes bigger, this radius will increase. So it is very clear electric field on the surface will decrease. Will decrease as the balloon gets bigger. Now let us see the third part. Third part is what happens outside the balloon. Okay, at a given point. Okay, so let us take this as the balloon. Radius is r. Here is the total charge, capital Q. Let us take a point outside. Now you know that at this point, if you draw a Gaussian surface, I will not do the derivation again, okay, but just I am trying to explain. If you take a Gaussian surface and this distance is small r, what was the electric field outside formula? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught capital Q by small r square. Understood? Okay. Now, if the balloon becomes bigger, like this, okay, now the balloon has become bigger. So now the charge is on the outer surface only, na? Yes or no? So you can see the radius has increased, no doubt. Radius has increased, but this small r will remain same only, because they are asking how electric field at outside point changes as the balloon increases, as the balloon size increases, because they said as the balloon is blown up. So even if the balloon size increases, as long as you are outside, this small r will remain constant, and total charge inside will be this much only, that will remain same only. That means electric field outside will remain constant. Okay, for how long? For till the balloon reaches here. Once the balloon becomes this much, okay, once it becomes this much, then that point will be now where? Inside the balloon. Then electric field will become zero. But they asked for outside, no? So as the balloon keeps becoming bigger and bigger, once it comes here, once it crosses this point, now this point will be where? Inside the spherical charge, which is the balloon. Therefore now electric field will become zero. But as long as this point is outside, even when the balloon size increases, the electric field outside will remain constant. So answer is 0. On the surface, electric field will decrease because the radius keeps becoming larger. So on the surface means at this point, and once it becomes bigger, then at this point. Yes or no? Because surface they told, no? This is the surface when the balloon was here. When the balloon was here, this will be your surface, or any other point you can take. But as long as you take on the surface, the radius, as the balloon becomes bigger, the radius of the balloon will increase. So electric field on the surface, it is inversely proportional, na? So electric field will decrease. But if you are outside, and as the balloon is getting bigger and bigger, this small r will remain constant, because from center to that point we want, so that will remain constant. Okay, very good. Let us see now question number 4. How does electric field due to line charge vary with distance? We know inversely proportional to r. So for fourth question, this is question number 3 actually, right? So for fourth question, they are asking electric field due to line charge. So for line charge, which is very long, what was the formula? Lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught r. That means it is inversely proportional to distance from the line charge. R was, students, distance from the line charge. Okay. So now we will do numerical exercise 5. So I hope all of you have understood this. So let us see question number 1, numerical exercise 5, question number 1. Okay. An electric field is uniform and in the positive x direction for positive x axis, and uniform with the same magnitude but in the negative x direction for negative x axis. It is given by, so the formula for electric field they have given, E bar equals to 200 I cap Newton per Coulomb for x greater than 0, and it is given as minus 200 I cap Newton per Coulomb for x less than 0. A rigid, a right circular cylinder of radius 20 centimeter, length 20 centimeter and radius 5 centimeter has its center at the origin and its axis is along the x-axis, so that one face is at x equal to plus 10 centimeter and other face is at x equal to minus 10 centimeter. So there is a right circular cylinder. Right circular means this end and the other end will have same area. So the cylinder is kept such that the axis of the cylinder is on the x-axis. So let us say this is your x-axis. This is your x equal to 0, let's say. So they have kept a cylinder whose length is 20 centimeter and radius is 5 centimeter, and its center is at origin and its axis is along the x-axis. So you have to keep the cylinder like this. Okay. So this is your cylinder. Okay. Center of the cylinder is on the origin, and the axis of cylinder means this one, the line passing through center and perpendicular to its area. So that is called axis of cylinder. Okay. So that axis is along x-axis. The length of the cylinder is given to be 20 centimeter and radius is given to be 5 centimeter. Sorry, and this end. So where will be this end? X equals to plus 10, because this is from the center. No, origin is at the center. No, so from origin to here will be plus 10. From origin to here will be, distance will be 10, but coordinate will be minus 10. Okay, so this is minus 10. So the first part is question number A. What is the outward flux through each face? Outward flux they are asking through each flat face. Flat. So these two are flat, right? This is curved. Now let us see how electric field they have given. First of all, they have given electric field as a number. Since it is a number, it is constant. But you see, for x greater than 0, matlab this side, electric field is along positive x-axis because it is I cap. So here electric field is this way. In this part, electric field is like this. Whereas for x less than 0, electric field is value is 200, but direction is minus I cap. Minus I cap means this side. Okay. So let us call this surface S1, this surface S2. So what will be flux through the first surface? Since it is a plane surface, I can use the formula for plane surface. EA cos theta. Yes or no? So if I use EA cos theta, what is my E? E is magnitude. Magnitude of electric field is 200. Magnitude, okay? I cap you should not write because magnitude means modulus. Modulus of I cap is 1. So electric field is 200. Area will be this area. So this area will be pi r square. So radius is 5 centimeters. So 0.05, convert into meter, then square it, and theta will be cos of, what is theta? Area vector for this surface will be this side, right? Area vector will be perpendicular to the surface. So area vector and electric field are in same direction. So cos of 0. So this you can simplify, use your calculator. You should get 1.57 Newton. What will be the unit of flux? This is Newton per coulomb. Electric field is Newton per coulomb. Area is meter square. So this is the flux through this flat surface. What about flux through the other flat surface? This surface. Electric field is here. Area vector is always drawn outward and perpendicular to the surface. So here also same thing will come. So 1.57. So in both case, value of the flux will be same. What about this curved surface? Curved surface they have asked. What is the flux through the side of the, so this is part A, these two are part A, okay. Now in part B, they are asking flux through this surface. Now for this surface, you see area vector everywhere will be like this. Now this is the surface, no? So how will you draw area vector? Perpendicular to the surface. For this part, perpendicular to the surface. Understood or not? So since it is perpendicular to the surface, you can see it is perpendicular to electric field lines. Electric field this side is this way, electric field this side is this way, according to the question. According to the question. So on the curved surface, so on the side part, you know theta everywhere is 90 degree. What is theta? Angle between area vector and electric field everywhere. So since it is 90 degree everywhere, flux through the side part will be 0. Then part C they are asking what is the net outward flux. So let me write part C here. Okay, let me rub few things. Let me rub this part. So now let me find part C, which is net outward flux. So let us say phi net, let me use the symbol. Okay, so this is the net flux. That will be flux through this plus flux through this plus flux through this, right? So it will be 1.57 plus 1.57 plus 0. So that will be 14.13. So it will be 3.14. Unit will be, this is Newton per Coulomb. Electric field is Newton per Coulomb. Area is meter square. Right? Okay. Now let us see the last part. So last part is what? In the last part, they are asking you what is the net charge inside this cylinder. They are asking. So since this is a what kind of surface, if you include this surface, this side, then it becomes a closed surface. So for closed surface, what is Gauss law says? The net flux through a closed surface is equal to charge inside divided by epsilon naught. So if you cross multiply, charge inside will be net flux through the closed surface into epsilon naught. Now net flux through the closed surface is this itself, because this is the sum of flux through this part, flux through this part, plus flux through this part. So total flux is 3.14 into, what is the value of epsilon naught? You have to see first few videos. So the value of epsilon naught is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12. Finally, the unit will come Coulomb. According to my calculation, I have got 27.87. Okay, you can check, please. Please check the calculations. Okay, blindly don't believe. So this is how the problem can be easily done. Now, how do I know that there must be charge inside? There has to be charge inside, because lines of electric field are going like this, no? So there must be some positive charge inside. Then only electric field lines can come out. Okay? Fine or not? Okay. So this is how, once you know the net flux through the surface, you can easily find charge inside the closed surface. Okay? So this is question number 1 of numerical exercise. Let us now see question number 2. So what is question number 2 saying? Two large thin plates are parallel and close to each other. Okay, metal plates they are saying. How metals are conductors. Okay, and about conductors we will study very much in detail in the next chapter. But still we will do this problem. So there are two large metal plates and close to each other. On their inner faces, the plates have surface charge densities of opposite sign and of magnitude 17 into 10 power minus 22. So what they are saying in question number 2 is there are two large plates like this. Okay, so to show this way is very difficult. So in exam you can always show the plates to be simply by drawing two lines. So imagine this is one plate, this is one plate, but please remember these are plates. Okay, large plates they told, parallel plates. Okay, and on the inside, in one plate, on the inside surface, this is inside surface, this is outside surface. So on the inside surface there is plus charge, on the outside there is minus charge. Now they have not given you the value of the charge, but they have given you the surface charge density. So density means what? Charge per unit area, and the value that they have given is 1.7, I think, sorry, 17 actually, into 10 to the power minus 22. Unit will be what? Charge is Coulomb divided by area, so per meter square. So this is your surface charge density. They are asking what is electric field in the outer region of the first plate. So which one shall I call first plate? That doesn't matter. Let's call this first plate, then this will be second plate. and both of them are plates. So outer region of the first plate means here. So we have to find electric field here. Let us call it A. Then we have to find electric field in the outer region of second plate here. And then we have to find in between the plates. Let us say somewhere here. C. Okay, so let us calculate. Now, how many charge plates are there? Two. Already, see, if you look at this part, this is a plate. Okay, students. So let me show you. This is a plate like this. Like this. So these charges are on this plate. So if you look that part, it will look like a sheet of charge. And for sheet of charge, we know the formula for electric field. Tell me, sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So we know the formula for electric field due to sheet of charge, sigma by 2 epsilon naught, that is magnitude. Direction, well, if it is positive charge, away, negative charge, towards. So at point A, let me do first. So here, due to this sheet, it will be away. And you know the formula for electric field due to sheet of charge does not depend on the distance. How far you are, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, the formula is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Sigma by 2 epsilon naught. It is constant. So due to this sheet of charge, electric field here is, let us say, E, sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Due to this sheet, it will be, magnitude will be sigma only. But direction, since it is negative, it will be towards. Value will be same, sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So total will be what? Electric field at A. So you have to add these two vectors. I am using superposition principle. First, I am finding due to one sheet. Then I am finding electric field due to other sheet. Then I am using vector addition. But they are in opposite direction. So total will be sigma by 2 epsilon naught minus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So that will be 0. Okay, na? Okay. For second part, this point. Due to plus, it will be away. How much? Sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Due to negative, magnitude will be same, but direction will be towards. Sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So electric field at B will be also 0 because these two are equal and opposite. Part C means here. Due to this sheet, it will be this side. Right? And due to this negative sheet, it will be towards the negative sheet. So both the electric fields are in what direction? Same direction. This is sigma by 2 epsilon naught. This is also sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So now the vectors are in same direction. So total will be sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. These two students are magnitude of the charge density. Okay, so this will give you sigma by epsilon naught. So try to remember this. So this is the formula for electric field between two plates of charge when the inner surfaces have surface charge density plus sigma and the other inner surface has surface charge density minus sigma. Magnitude is same for both of them according to the question. So this will be sigma was given 17 into 10 power minus 22. Epsilon naught value is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12. So use your calculator. Let me give you what answer I have found. So the answer is 1.92 into 10 to the power minus 10 Newton per coulomb. Okay. So this is how you have to find electric field when there are more than one sheet of charge. And what if this was sigma 1 and this one was minus sigma 2? Then this will be sigma 1, sigma 2. Okay, then it will not be 0 because directions are opposite, but one may be sigma 1, other may be having sigma 2, magnitude of the surface charge density. Then while writing total, you have to write this minus this or this minus this depending on whichever is bigger, right? Okay. But here they are equal in magnitude, so total is 0. Okay, students. So remember, due to plus it is away, due to minus it is towards. And since it is sheet of charge, the value of the electric field, the magnitude, value when I say it is magnitude. So the magnitude of the electric field will remain same independent of distance. How far you are, it doesn't matter. So whether here, everywhere it will be 0 here. Here everywhere 0. And in between everywhere it will be sigma by epsilon naught. Okay. For this, what is the condition? But the condition is the sheet of charge should be very large, so that we can use the formula of infinite plane sheet of charge. Let us see question number 3 now. A conducting sphere of radius 10 centimeter has an unknown charge. Okay, so there is a conducting sphere. Radius is capital R, let's say, which is given 10 centimeter. Okay, and it has unknown charge. If the electric field 20 centimeter from the center of the sphere, this is 10 centimeters, so at some distance small r here, so this small r is 20 centimeter. So at this point they are saying electric field is 1.5 into 10 to the power 3 Newton per coulomb, and it is and points radially inwards. That means electric field at that point value is this much, magnitude is this much, but direction is this way. It is inwards. Okay, inwards, radially inwards. Then the question is, what is the net charge on the sphere? Also find the number of electrons that must be added to produce the given field. So to produce this much electric field here, you know that this sphere has to be charged. Now, can you tell me whether the charge on the sphere should be positive or negative? Think carefully. It should be negative because the electric field is towards. So it should be negative charge. Okay, so it should be some minus q, where q is the magnitude. Okay, so charge on the sphere should be minus q, and that q we have to find. Then we will know the charge on the sphere. And to give it negative charge, you have to put what? Electrons. Already we know from first few classes. So we have to add electrons. How many electrons to add? That we will do later. First, let us find the charge. So the first part is to find the charge. Now think what kind of charge it is, what kind of distribution it is. Spherical. And since it is conductor, students, right now you will not understand, but for conductor, the whatever charge you give will always stay on the outer surface. I think I have discussed this also in one of the videos. Whatever charge you give to the conductor will stay on the outer surface, meaning it will be like a shell of charge. Shell, because the charge is only on the outer surface, whatever extra charge we have given. Okay, so the charge will be on the outer surface, so we can use the formula for shell. Now, what was electric field at this point due to shell? Magnitude. Okay, magnitude 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by which r was there? From center to the point, which is small r, not capital R. So small r square. Now, what is the electric field value? 1.5 into 10 power 3. They have given you electric field. Okay, value they have given. This constant value we know, 9 into 10 to the power 9. This magnitude of charge we have to find. Distance from the center was 20 centimeter. In meter it will be 0.2 meter. So 0.2 square. Okay. So then you can cross multiply and find the magnitude of the charge. So it will be 1.5 into 10 power 3 into 0.2 square will be what? 4 into 10 power minus 2. Because this is 2 into 10 power minus 1. Square it. 4 into 10 power minus 2. Cross multiply. Divided by 9 into 10 to the power 9. Right? So this will be 4 5s are 20, 0 2 carries 6 by 9. So 6 by 9 will be 6 by 9. No, so it will be 2 by 3 into 10 to the power 3 minus 2 will be 1. 9 will go up minus 9. 1 minus 9 minus 8 coulomb. So that would be the charge. Then you can divide 2 by 3. Fine. So this part we have done. It will come some 0.666 like that. Okay, so this is done. Now the second part is to find how many electrons should be added in order to give the sphere this much charge. But by the way, the answer is what? This or minus this. minus this, because they are asking charge on the sphere, which is minus some value. So the minus, we know value we have found this much. Okay, so the answer is put this here. That will be the charge on the sphere. Second part is to find how many electrons you should give. For that, what we will use, what is the relation between charge and number of electrons. In the first few classes I have taught you something called quantization of charge. So any charge must be equal to Ne. Remember, right? And N is the number of electrons which should be added in this question. So N will be equals to Q by E. Q value how much we got? 2 by 3 into 10 power minus 8, and E is 1.6 into 10 power minus 90. This is Coulomb, so it will cancel. So this will be the answer for how many electrons are there. Okay, you can simplify yourself the value. Let me give you the result so that you can check. So the result for this will be 4.16 into 10 to the power 10 electrons. Okay, so that many electrons should be removed. Okay, so now it is clear. So that this calculation you please do. Okay, if I do start doing now, it will take a lot of time, unnecessary wastage of time. Okay, so let us now see question number 4. A spherical conductor of radius 12 centimeter. Again, conductor they are saying. Question number 4 is a spherical conductor. Radius is capital R, which is given 12 centimeter. Okay, and the charge on the sphere, this time it is positive, and the value of the charge they have given is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 7 coulomb, is distributed uniformly on its surface. What is the electric field? Part A. Inside the sphere. Okay, so inside the electric field will be 0. Okay, why? Though it may not be a shell, though it is a conductor, and conductor is a solid body, it is solid, okay, not hollow sphere. However, in conductor, I have told you before, whatever charge we give, whatever excess charge we give, excess matlab, by induction or conduction, whatever excess charge we give, that will stay only on the outer surface. So inside, there will be no charge present. So whatever we did in the case of shell, we can apply in the case of conductor also, spherical conductor. Okay, so electric field inside will be 0. We already know. Part B is at a point 18 centimeter from the center of the sphere. So from the center, 18 means outside. The radius is 12. That point is 18 centimeters. So let us call this small r. And small r is 18 centimeters. Students, sometimes I have seen they will give you the distance of that point from the surface. So if this 18 was from the surface, you have to add 12 to find small r. Because small r we have used from center to the observation point. So they may give you distance from the surface. So please add the radius to this distance to find distance from the center. Here no need to do. Here this small r is distance from the center. So electric field, here they want P, let us call it. Since it is outside, we know the formula for a shell of charge. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q by small r square. Right? So let us substitute the values. Calculation you can do yourself. So what is the value of this? 9 into 10 power 9. The charge on the sphere, total charge is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 7. And small r is given 18 centimeter, which is 18 into 10 power minus 2 meter. So square it, 18 into 10 power minus 2 square. Okay, so solve this, you should get value, answer I will tell you. So answer should come 4.44 into 10 to the power 4 Newton per coulomb. So please check the calculation, okay? And if it is wrong, let me know in the comment section. Question number 5, let us see now. A uniformly charged conducting sphere. Again, uniformly charged conducting sphere. So let me not draw another diagram. Let me rub only this part. Okay. So there is a uniformly charged conducting sphere of diameter 2.4 meter diameter. So radius will be what? Radius will be diameter divided by 2. So this 2.4 meter divided by 2. So it will be 1.2 meter. So that is the radius. Has a surface charge density. Surface charge density means with symbol sigma. What it means? Charge per unit area. So surface charge density is 80 microcoulomb per meter square. That means 80 into 10 power minus 6 coulomb per meter square. Charge per unit area. First part is find the charge on the sphere. Find the charge on the sphere. Now how sigma they have given, radius they have given. Now what is the meaning of sigma? Since it is constant, sigma can be written as charge divided by area. Now what kind of area it is? Is it a flat area? It is a curved, and the area of a sphere is how much? 4 pi r square. So charge will be sigma 4 pi r square. So substitute the value of sigma and whatever they have given. Okay. So what is the value of sigma? 80 into 10 power minus 6, 4 into 3.14 pi value, and this is capital R because we have to find the radius of, we have to find the area of the sphere. So for area of the sphere, you have to use radius of the sphere. Radius of the sphere is capital R. And what is capital R? 1.2. So 1.2 square, which will be 1.44, right? So if you do the calculation, you will get finally 1.448 into 10 to the power minus 3 coulomb. That's a millicoulomb. Okay. So this is the charge. Second part, they are asking what is the total electric flux. So they are asking now electric flux, not electric field, leaving the surface of a concentric sphere that encloses the charged sphere. So let us say this is my sphere, okay, through which they want the electric flux, and this sphere encloses whatever charge is on the conductor. So to find electric flux here, since we know the charge inside, no, we know the charge inside or not. So if you know the charge inside for a closed surface, then what will I use directly? Gauss law. So if I use Gauss law, the electric flux through this sphere, not this one, this is the charged conductor, this is conductor. They are asking these lines will go like this, no? So you can see lines are cutting the surface. Which surface? The surface that they are given in the question, this surface. So the flux through the surface, closed surface it is, so let me write closed, is equal to charge inside divided by epsilon naught. And already we know charge inside this is whatever is the total charge. What is the total charge we found? 1.448 into 10 to the power minus 3. Epsilon naught value is 8.85 into 10 power minus 2. Okay, so this calculation if you do, you will get 1.63 into 10 power minus 8. Sorry, not minus 8, plus 8. Because you can see in the denominator minus 12 is there, no? So when it will go up, plus 12 it will become. So now what will be the unit? What is the unit of flux? It is definition is what? EA cos theta, no? So E means electric field, Newton per coulomb. Area means meter square. Meter square. So this completes. So please try the home exercise 5 at home and solve it. Hints are also given if you are confused, and please check with the answer whether you got or not. So practice today itself, otherwise you will find it difficult later. Students, for the remaining 20 minutes now, I'm going to do something which is actually something extra from whatever we are doing. Okay, so it is not in the line of whatever we are doing, it is little bit extra. Okay, and why I'm doing it separately is because this topic is actually done in first PU also, but I'm going to introduce it to you in such a way that it will be more general. General matlab you can use it for many purposes, not only for one specific purpose. So the topic is basically how to find total charge of a charge distribution, okay, using integration. So I give you some charge distribution and you are supposed to find the total charge. So that I'm going to discuss. So before I start that topic, let us learn in first PU. You have learned that speed is given by what formula? Usually we write distance by time. Yes or no? We write distance divided by time. Now this formula, when we write speed equals to distance by time, please understand that this formula, the moment I write like this, it is only true if your speed is constant during this interval of time. Understood or not? Why? Let us think. If you cross multiply, what will be distance? Speed into time. Right? Now, suppose this interval is from 0 to 10 seconds. Now, in this interval, suppose I move with a constant speed, and the constant speed is, let's say, 2 meter per second. So for this is time, okay, this is 10 seconds now. So for 10 seconds, time is 10 seconds. If I travel with constant speed 2 meter per second, what will be the distance that I cover? 20 meter, right? So this is very much sensible, right? It makes sense. However, students, think in this interval, suppose I move with different speed. Matlab in for 1 second I travel with 3 meter per second. For next 1 second I travel for 10 meter per second. Next 1 second I don't travel only, I stay at rest. Then to find the distance covered from 0 to 10 seconds, can I use this formula? No, because the speed will be changing. Understood or not? So this is like saying, if I write cost of 10 apples equals to cost per apple into 10. If I write like this, then what does it mean? It means this should be same for all the apples. Yes or no? Cost per apple should be same for all the 10 apples. Then you can use this formula to write cost of 10 apples. Similarly, this is what? This V is distance by time. So this should be constant, like as I told here. Then you can multiply with time to find the total distance covered in 10 meter per second. This is only if the speed is constant. But there can be situation where you are accelerating. You are moving with different speed in this interval of time. So if you are moving with different speed during the interval of time, that means mathematically it means speed is a function of time. Then how will you calculate the total distance covered in 10 seconds or any interval of time? Then you cannot write distance equal to speed into time. This will not be allowed because your speed is changing. Then what we do? We write this speed as dx by dt. We remember, right, in first view. Why? Because it is instantaneous speed. Then whatever function is here, that is your speed. So let us write v. Then you cross multiply. Then you integrate. So once you integrate small distances, you will get the total distance. Whatever you want to call it, x or s, doesn't matter. So this is the total distance. Okay, in what interval? From 0 to t, let's say. So you cannot take this v outside because this v is not constant. If v was constant, you can take it outside. Then integration of dt will give you t. Upper limit, lower limit, if you put, you will get this formula again. Distance equal to speed into time. But if speed is not constant, if speed is a function of time, then you have to calculate distance, total distance this way. Please keep this in your mind, okay? So don't forget this, okay? So in order to calculate this, somebody should give you speed in terms of time. So maybe if they say 2t like that, then you can substitute this 2t here and then you can do the integration. Understood now? Okay. So same story we will be discussing now for charges. Okay, so look carefully. Suppose three things I'm going to discuss. So look carefully. So first here I will give you a line charge. Then I will give you a surface of charge, and for example I will take disk of charge, and then I will take a spherical charge. So these three distribution I have taken. Okay, so line of charge, let's say it is like this. Line charge is here. So charge is here. So here disk is there and charge is on the disk. It is spread on the disk. And this is spherical, okay, so it is volume. It is everywhere there is charge. So this kind of distribution of charge is very common in physics. Okay, so now suppose here, since it is line charge, we can define something called lambda. What is lambda? Defined as charge per unit length, which we say linear charge density, right? So let us write the name of this. Linear charge density. Linear charge density. Matlab basically it means charge per unit length. Similar to speed, say distance per unit time or cost per unit apple. See, all these things are related in physics. Understood or not? That's why it's very interesting. So this is lambda, which is linear charge density. Here, charge is on a surface and surface will have area. So here we define sigma, which is surface charge density. Surface charge density. And what it means? Charge per unit area. Here charge is in volume, so we define something called rho. And what is the rho? Volume charge density. What does it mean? Charge per unit volume. Now listen carefully. Let's say length of this is L, and this is since disk. Usually disk will have what they will give you for a disk, radius, no? And for sphere also they will give you radius. Correct now? Okay. Now, if lambda is constant, just like speed, if distance by time is constant, matlab for every second you cover same distance. So if lambda is constant, what it means? For every meter there is same charge. Listen carefully. For every meter there is same charge. Then it means lambda is constant. So if lambda is constant, then to find the total charge here, what you can do? Just multiply lambda with length. So this is like saying you want to find total distance, you multiply speed with time. So speed is changing with time. Here charge is changing with this distance. No. So if you multiply, what is charge? What is lambda? Sorry. Charge per unit length. So if you cross multiply, you will get this. But again, as I told you before, this is only true if lambda is constant. Similarly here, if sigma is constant, then what will be the total charge on this disk? Sigma is charge per unit area. It is like cost per unit apple. And if the cost per unit apple is same for all the apples, then what you can do to find the cost of all the apples? Just multiply cost of one apple with all the apples if you want cost of all the apples. So this is charge of unit area. So if you want to find charge of the whole disk, you just multiply this with the total area. And what is the total area of this? Pi r square. Similarly, if your density is constant, what will be the total charge? Density into volume now, because it is in a volume. And what will be the volume of a sphere? 4 by 3 pi r cube. Is it clear or not, students? Okay, now see carefully. Sometimes life will not be simple. This is the case 1. Now sometimes what they will say, in this case they will say lambda is a function of this distance. So let us say this line is along x-axis. And let us say this is your x equal to 0. This is your x equals to L. This is x-axis. So this is the length of the wire, length of the line charge. Now let us say lambda is given as a function of x. That means as you move along this x, lambda is not constant now. It is changing with x. Just like in the previous case I told you, speed is changing with time. Then your lambda will be no longer q by L. It will be charge on. So what you have to do is you have to take a small length here which is at a distance x. And that length, let us say, is dx. Okay, so if this is x, this small distance we write dx. So at a distance x, you take a small length dx. Then your lambda will be charge here, let us say, is dq. Then lambda you should write dq by dx. Understood or not? Then you cross multiply, dq will be lambda into dx. Then to find total charge, what will you do? Integrate. Now you cannot take lambda outside. Understood or not? So whatever function they will give, substitute here. So let me show you one example. So space is there, right? So let me use this space. So this is from 0 to here, no? Because you are, see, what is this saying? This is saying find what is dq, charge on this small dx, right? So find charge on this dx and then integrate dq means from where to where? From 0 to L. So from 0 to L means you take charge of this much dx, then charge of this much dx, then charge of this much dx till you reach here. Then you integrate. That is what you have to do if lambda is given as a function of x and if it is not constant. Right? So if the price of different apples are different, then you individually you have to add the price. No, you cannot multiply cost of one apple with all the apples if the apples are of different prices, if the price varies from apple to apple. Similarly, if your charge varies from length to length, meaning your charge is no longer constant for particular dx. Okay, so in this dx the amount of charge is not same as here. So if it varies, matlab if lambda is varying, if lambda is not constant, then you have to do this kind of technique, which I have already explained. So let us take an example for simplicity. So let us say lambda is given some constant into x. It could be something else. It could be x squared. It could be 1 by x. This one they can change. Okay, so what you will do? Put this lambda here. So 0 to L. What is lambda? Lambda naught x dx. Right? Then lambda naught will come outside. Take it outside. What will be there here? Because why you took outside? Because lambda naught is constant. Variable is this x. Okay, na? Okay or not? Okay. Now you have to integrate x dx. And for that you should use the formula. Integral of x dx is x square by 2. And put limits, upper limit L, lower limit 0. Okay, and then when you put upper limit, what will you get here? Lambda naught, upper limit will be L square by 2. Okay, not visible, right? So if you put upper limit, it will be L square by 2. Lower limit is 0, so no need to put. So this is how I have found total charge. Are you understanding or not, students? Okay. Now, here the charge is on a disk. And if your sigma, which is what? Surface charge density, if that is constant, then it is not a problem. Then you can write total charge as sigma into area, because it is charge per unit area, cost per unit apple, like that. So if you multiply by number of apples, you will get total price. This is charge per unit area. If you multiply with area, you will get total charge. Think carefully whatever I am saying. But what if what if your sigma is a function of, here how will they tell? They will tell like this. See, here the charge can vary on a line, here it is on a disk, no? So let us say I take this disk. Okay, let me take the other pen. So this is my disk, and from here at a distance small r. So what is small r? Distance from the center. So your sigma, they will tell, is a function of this small r. Meaning, as you go from center away, your surface charge density is no longer constant. It is varying from here to here, here to here. And you can take some function like this. Later we will discuss that. Then how will you find the total charge? Then you have to find total charge by writing this sigma as, here how we wrote, dq by dx. What is dx? Length of a small portion I took, because here charge is in a length, here charge is on a surface. So what I will do, I will take charge on a small area dq and divide by the small area dA. Then I will cross multiply, and then I will integrate, and that will give me the total charge. That will be my total charge. Okay, now this integration will be tricky. I will explain how to do. Here it was easy, right? Okay, now here, if your density, volume charge density, again it is not constant, let's say, but it changes with this r, where r is distance from the center. So as you move from the center, suppose they tell you that this volume charge density is not a constant, but it is a function of this distance. Then how will you find total charge? Then you cannot use this formula, remember. So you have to write this rho as dq, which is charge in a small, what I should say, length or area or volume now, volume. So take a charge on a small volume, then divide by the small volume. Then you cross multiply, then you integrate. Just like we did in the case of to find the total distance, exact same concept. So this will be your total charge, integral rho dV. Okay students, so these three things I want all of you to remember very properly. Okay, fine. So once you have understood this concept, let me now explain to you how this one, though I did one example, right? So how to do this too. So let me just explain. Okay, now before I give you one example of how to find total charge in a disk if surface charge density varies. Okay, so listen carefully. So let's say if, okay, so first I will tell you for disk of charge. Okay, disk of charge. This line of charge, so we did the example, right? Okay, so let us see disk of charge. So here is your disk. Okay students, okay. Now from the center, as you go away, let us say this small r is the variable, okay, which is distance from center to any point. Now your surface charge density is a function of this distance. They may write x also, then you write x here, and that is equal to, take some example, let us say sigma naught some constant r, just like in the case of linear charge density I took. But this could be anything. This function depends on the exam. Whatever question paper they will give, it depends on that. Okay. Now, how do you find the total charge? You know the concept. The total charge will be this sigma into dA. Now, dA is what? Area of one small section here. But you have to substitute here in such a way, when you put area, you see what will be sigma given? Sigma is sigma naught r. Sigma naught r. Here dA will be left. Now this you cannot integrate. No, you know how to integrate x dx like that, but you can't integrate y dx, or you cannot integrate x dy. So this is r, this is dA. So it is not helping us. So what we do in such cases, what will we do? So now students, we have to think. This disk, student, it is a disk, okay? So this disk, can't I think carefully, can't I imagine this disk is made up of small rings, starting from this ring which has 0 radius, then I make this, first I make this ring which has 0 radius because it is a point, then I make a ring of this ring, then I make this ring, then I make this ring, then I go to this ring, then I go to this ring. So like that, I can think this whole disk is made up of rings whose radius start from 0 till they reach this capital R. Capital R is the disk of the, radius of the original, the actual disk. Okay, so you got the point, right? How I can imagine this disk is made up of. So I can think this disk is made up of small rings, starting from small, and slowly the radius of the rings should increase. Yes or no? So that is what you do, no? You take small rings, keep putting them on top of, no, side by side you keep putting, so, and gap should not be there. Then as you keep seeing, you will get a disk, nice disk. Yes or no? So what we need to do now is this dA, we should treat it as area of a ring, right? Because this is dA, no? It represents small area of the disk. So this was your disk. Look carefully, okay? This was your disk. So what I will do, at some distance r, I will consider a ring whose radius is r and thickness is this thickness. How much I should say? dr. So radius is r, thickness is dr. Okay, so this dA represents basically the area of this. Understood or not? Okay, let us go back once. Before writing this, what I used to write, think carefully. What I told, how to find total charge of a disk if the surface charge density is not constant but function. If it is changing from here to here to here, then how to do I told. Then it is very simple. Then you have to write this as dq by dA. What is dq? Charge on some small area of the disk, and that dA represents that area. If you cross multiply, what will be dq? Sigma into dA. Understood? No. So basically dA here means this small area, and dq represents the charge in this small ring. Okay, so let us find what is the area of this small ring. So to find the area of the small ring, let us look this diagram now. So let me draw this ring separately here. Radius is r, thickness is dr. So I want this area. So this area, if you want, then what you can do, you can subtract the total area of this circle with this area. If you subtract this area from this area, if you subtract, sorry, this area from this area, you will get this part. Correct? No. So the area of this dA will be what? This big area will be how much? Pi radius square. What is the radius for this circle? R plus dr square minus, you subtract this small area. What is the small area of this part? Pi radius is small r square. Correct or not? Okay. Now you open this bracket, apply the formula a plus b whole square. So r square plus dr square plus 2r dr minus pi r square. Then multiply pi r square, that will cancel with minus pi r square. So this and this will cancel. Pi dr, now you see, this is a very, see, dr, the moment you write dr, it represents a very small number. calculus which we have studied in first PU also. Dx, the moment I write, it represents a small distance, or if it is dA, it represents a small area. So here this dr is a very small number. So dr square will be more small. It will be more small, right? 0.1 is small. Square it. 0.01. So dr square will be more small. So therefore, this dr square can be neglected. Then what will be the area of this ring? What is left? 2r dr and here pi. So I can write 2 pi r dr. Okay. Now, there is no need to do such a long calculation. There is a very smart way of finding this area. So look here. If you want to do this, no problem. You can do it. But there is an easy way to find this area. And the idea is you cut this part. If you cut here with a scissor, let's say, and then you open it, it will become like this or not? Tell me. Right? And this length will be this circumference, which is 2 pi r. And this thickness will be what? This thickness, which is dr. And now this area is basically this area. So now if you look carefully, this is area of a rectangle. So this area which I am calling in this problem dA, because it is part of my disk, a small part of my disk. So this area will be how much? This length is 2 pi r, thickness is dr. So please students, try to memorize this result. So area of a ring whose radius is r and thickness is extremely small, dr. So for such rings, how will you write the area? The circumference into the thickness. The circumference into the thickness. Actually students, if you cut this and open, this part will be little shorter and this part will be little longer. So actually the shape will look like this, I know. But again I am telling you, dr is extremely small. So approximately it will look like a rectangle. And then you can write this formula. So once you have remembered this formula, you know that this ring has area dA, symbol is dA and value is 2 pi r dr. So this is 2 pi r dr. Yes or no? Okay. And this sigma is this. So what will be my total charge? Okay, once I know this, let me rub this. Okay. So this is the charge of this ring, but question is to find the total charge of the disk. So total charge of the disk, if I want to know total charge of disk, how will I find? I will start from this ring which has 0 radius. Then I will go to this ring. Then I will go to this ring. And then I will keep adding charges on those rings. That is exactly like asking price of one apple, then adding with price of next apple, like that. Now you have to do it piece by piece. You cannot directly multiply sigma with area now. You cannot directly multiply cost of one apple with all the apples. Understanding? No, because your sigma is not constant. So now you substitute sigma whatever they will give. What they have given here is an example I have taken. Okay, this is just an example. So it will be here. First, what is the formula for total charge? You have to integrate this dq. So if you integrate this dq, sigma into dA, dA I have substituted. What is sigma they have given? Sigma naught r 2 pi r dr. Now you see you can integrate nicely because r dr has come. And you have to start from this ring till you reach this ring. So when you started from here, what was the value of this r? When you if you take this ring here itself, then your r starts from 0. And when you reach this ring, your small r will become this r, which is the radius of the disk. Correct? No? So small r varies from 0 till capital R. So lower limit is 0, upper limit is capital R. So the total charge will be, yes, constant you take outside, 2 pi sigma naught outside. What is left? Integral of r square dr from 0 to r. Then you can do the integration. What is the integration of x square dx? X power n plus 1 by n plus 1. That formula you have to memorize. So r square will be r power 3 by 3. Put upper limit, what will you get? R power 3 by 3. Lower limit is 0, so no need to put. So this will be the answer for total charge. Now think, once you have made note, now think if sigma was constant. So let me put this dq here. Okay, so if sigma was constant, so if surface charge density was constant, then you see what will you get. Put this sigma outside, right? Total charge, let me show you here. Now it is constant. Okay, now this function is not given, it is constant. Then you can take sigma outside. What is left? 2 pi r dr from 0 to capital R. 2 pi is also constant, take it outside. Now see, what do you have? Sorry, okay. Now integral of x dx like that. No, this is r dr. What is the formula? X square by 2. So if you do integral r square by 2, you will get, integral r dr is r square by 2. Then put upper limit. You will get r square by 2. 2 will cancel. So total charge will be sigma into pi r square. This is what I have told you before. If sigma is constant, then to find total charge, what you can do? Just multiply sigma with area. If sigma is constant, which is surface charge density. Okay. So I hope you understood this disk of charge concept. Now let me quickly tell you what you should do for volume. Okay, if the charge is in a volume, then let me take the most common volume that they take, which is spherical. So let me now give you spherical volume. Okay, so sphere of charge. So now let me say this is your sphere. See, in board everything will look like a disc only, circle only, no? So this is sphere. So please remember it is sphere. Okay, it's 3D, 3 dimension. Now from center at a distance r, as you go, the volume charge density is not constant but some function. Let me take a rho naught r. I'm trying to take same function. Okay, you can change it. So this is just example. Then how to find the total charge? Since this is not constant, you cannot multiply density with volume to find the charge. This is not mass density, this is charge density. Charge density means charge per unit volume. If it is constant, it is like saying price per apple is constant. Then you can multiply with number of apples. But here it is not constant. So what you should do is you have to write, first you have to calculate small charge in a small volume of this sphere. And that volume is, let's say, dV. Then multiply volume with charge density. So if you multiply charge density with small volume, you will get charge in that small volume. Then to find total charge, what you do? Integrate rho dV. Now your rho is given as a function of r, but dV is not like that. dV, you have to do something for dV, otherwise you cannot do integration. So now think, just like disk can be imagined as made up of rings, similarly a sphere which has charge everywhere. This is not a hollow sphere, okay? This is a sphere where there is charge everywhere. Okay, so such a sphere you can imagine as made up of shells. Let me write it here, spelling shells. So shell means something like this, okay? So inside is hollow. Okay, so if you take a tennis ball for example, it is like a shell. Inside is hollow, and that skin will have some thickness, no? That skin. So that thickness is this. Understood? So what you can think is this whole solid sphere which has charge everywhere can be considered as made up of shells, 3D shells, starting from 0 radius till you reach the till you reach the radius of this sphere, which is, let's say, capital R. Small r is just a variable which tells you how far you are from the center. So what you should do is, you should consider here a small shell whose radius is r and thickness is, what should I write, dr. So this is a shell. See, it's like onion. Onion, no, if you peel, you will get shells there. So you can think that the whole onion is made up of shells, starting from small shell till as it becomes bigger and bigger. Correct or not? Okay. Now, what is the volume of this? If this shell, if I want volume, I want, so don't do pi r square. So what you should do? You should subtract the bigger volume from the smaller volume. Then you will get this volume. This is 3D, okay, students? So what is the bigger volume? It is a sphere, so this is a sphere, no? This is also a sphere, this is also a sphere. So what is the volume of this bigger sphere? 4 by 3 pi. Radius of this bigger sphere is r plus dr cube minus volume of this smaller, this inner sphere. That will be 4 by 3 pi r cube. So that will be the volume of this shell. Right? Okay. Then here you use the formula a plus b whole cube. Tell me the formula. A cube plus b cube plus 3a square b plus 3b square a. This is done now. So minus 4 by 3 by r cube. Okay, so let me separate this part. Okay, so this is here. Now you see carefully. 4 by 3 by r cube will cancel with this. And already I have told you dr is very small. So dr square will be negligible. Dr square is negligible. Dr cube will be even more negligible. So dr cube will be also out. So what is left now? Look carefully. 4 by 3 pi, here 3 r square dr. 3 cancel. 4 pi r square dr. So that is the volume of this shell, whose radius is r, thickness is dr. Again students, there is no need to do so detailed way. I have shown you full mathematical beauty, but that much detail you don't need to do. This easy way to remember. So let me tell you what is the easy way to remember. For that, if I ask you volume of this shape, which looks like a flattened cube. So you take a cube, you flatten it. So for this shape, what will be the volume? Let's say this area is A and this thickness is T thickness. And what will be the volume? For such volume, we write what formula? Length into breadth into height. Now length into breadth is this area. So this is not this part is area, and this small height is nothing but thickness. So similarly, if you take this shape and you cut it, and then make it flat, then it will look like this only. See, if you make it round, then it will become shell only. If you make it round like this. So if you open it, it will become like this. So to find the volume of this shell, instead of doing such a long mathematical way which I did, easy way is find the surface area, which is 4 pi r square. Then multiply with the thickness. The thickness here is dr. And if you compare with the one I showed to you, it is correct. Those students who are thinking, sir, why can't I write 4 pi r plus dr square into dr? Because you may think radius of this is r plus dr. Again, I told you, compared to your r, dr is very, very small. So you can neglect. So you will get this only. So please memorize these two things. Area of a ring whose radius is r, thickness is dr, and volume of a shell whose radius is r, thickness is dr. So volume is 4 pi r square dr. Matlab area into thickness you do. And what about ring? How to find area? The circumference into thickness. Circumference was 2 pi r, thickness is dr. Okay. So now once you know this, it is very easy now. So because I want the total charge on the sphere, and I'm imagining the sphere as made up of shells. So I will find charge of each shell and then I'll integrate. So dq represents charge of this shell here. Understood or not? Then I will add this dq from here till I reach this shell. Okay, last one. So here in this example, what was your density given as a function? Rho naught r. Rho naught is some constant you think. And dv is volume of this shell, whose radius is r, thickness is dr. So what is the volume I told? 4 pi r square dr. Then constants you take outside. Rho naught 4 pi will come outside, and you have to integrate from 0 to capital R. You now understand very easily, right? What is left? R cube. Now what is the formula for integration of x power n plus 1 by n plus 1? This is R cube. So the total charge will be rho naught 4 pi r power 4 by 4. Upper limit is capital R, lower limit is 0. The last step is to put upper limit here. So r power 4 by 4. Lower limit no need to put because it is 0. So what will be your total charge now? So total charge is rho naught pi r power 4. So I hope students everything is clear. So please revise the video once. So the main idea here is, again, if you go to the basics, then it is like saying if price of each apple in a bag is constant, if price per apple, meaning price per unit apple, if it is constant, then to find total price just multiply cost of unit price of unit apple of one apple with all the apples. But if it is not like that, if it is changing from apple to apple, then individually you have to add. Similarly, if your lambda is constant, to find total charge multiply lambda with length. If your sigma is constant, what is sigma? Charge per unit area. Then multiply with total area, you will get total charge. Similarly, if your rho, which is what? Charge per unit volume, if that is constant, multiply with volume, you will get total charge. Otherwise, you have to divide that whole sphere or whole disk or whole line charge into pieces. So in case of line charge, you can take dx piece. For disk, you take rings. And for sphere, you take shells as pieces. And what is the area of disk? Area of ring whose radius is r, thickness is dr? 2 pi r dr. Okay, length into breadth. And for volume of a shell whose radius is r, thickness is dr, what is the volume? 4 pi r square dr. So once you know that, then you can write first charge on a small volume. Okay, then you integrate to find total charge. Okay, so I hope everybody understood. Remember this video very carefully. It will be very useful for more problems later, not only in this chapter, for many chapters to come. Okay, thank you.